Fathers Who Care is a nonprofit organization located on the west side of Chicago within the West Garfield Park community. Again, everyone, my name is Hinisha Malone, and I am the Vice President of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is comprised of young people from our community whose focus and concern is youth leadership and a voice within the community to reduce senseless violence and illegal substance use. We invite people from all over, especially young people, to come in and see what we are all about. Our show will be scheduled every Thursday at 7 p.m. Again, that is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Our show can also be viewed online at www.cantv.org/live. Again, that website is www.cantv.org/live. I would like to introduce my guests for today. This is Janeicia, Phillissa, and Alicia. And Janeicia,
yes.
Janeicia, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I want to thank you all for being a guest on tonight's show. So again, everyone, my name is Hinisha Malone, and I am the Vice President of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. You are watching a live interactive call-in television program brought to you on CanTV 21. During the next 25 minutes, we are going to discuss our young people making a difference and becoming future change agents. So now I have a few questions for you all. So who is Janeicia and what is your purpose for existing?
Wow, what is my purpose for existing? That's deep. Well, my name is Janeicia Williams. I am currently working as a community ecosystem manager at Project Exploration. So a couple things about me. I grew up on the west side of Chicago. I went to college at Howard University getting my my undergraduate degree in legal communications, and I'm currently getting my master's at DePaul University in experience design. So tons of school, but excited to be finishing up my master's this fall. A little bit about me. I grew up doing issue-based poetry around the community and being involved in a number of youth councils such as the West Garfield Park Youth Council, as well as the NAACP Youth Council back when I was in high school. And now I have returned to Chicago to help lead a youth group of my own as we try to work to find safe spaces for young people to spend their time throughout the breaks around school. And we also spend a lot of time convening community organizations so they can build strategies that will empower our young people and bring their voice to the forefront.
I love that. So do anybody else want to answer this question?
You guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Alicia Rodgers, and I'm a 16-year-old youth from the Austin community. I love working inside of my community, trying to better my community, and not just looking at the youth as the problem, but the solution.
And what high school do you go to?
I attend Prosser Career Academy.
Awesome.
Yes. Oh, hey guys, I'm Phillissa Dawson. I currently attend UIC, and I'm 21 years old. And I've been an active advocate for Austin ever since I was a little girl. I always seen the disparities amongst the community, and it always ignited something in me deeply to actually be a part of the movement and the change, because a lot of people would think Austin doesn't have resources, but the resources are out there if you go out there and look for them and actively participate in the growth of your own community. So, yeah.
So why are you so committed to helping young people?
Like I said, I grew up in youth councils and youth groups across the west side. And so I've been one of the young people who didn't have anything to do, but the village and my community gave me purpose. I always attended community town halls or community forums and other community events. And so I really wanted to come and make those events fun and engaging for young people who have to experience them today. And so that's always been a passion of mine, is giving back to youth. And so that's kind of how I fell into this work.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like one of the reasons why a lot of teenagers do not go to the town meetings and stuff like that is because it's boring and all they do is just talk nonstop, and it's like they don't want to sit there and listen to that, and then it gets like disengaging because they don't really know how to stay focused with someone talking for that long. So the fact that you're trying to make it engaging, I think that's really like that will really help and actually get more people to come out and actually have fun while trying to help the community.
Yes, exactly. Civic leadership is so important, but it's important that we look at the generation that we have now and not try to continue to do the same things in the past, but find things that work for them so that way we can engage them and get their input and let their voice be heard. So it's definitely the point.
Yes, I agree with you guys because youth led is the new motto, the new motto that we have going on, because that's our next generation. And so all the aid that we can give to, the young folks is actually helping us, our society in the long run. So it's good to pour into these communities in any small way. Like even if you're just going out and walking on your block and talking to your neighbor, that's something that's going towards the community. Yeah. And so, just get engaged and get active.
Yeah. So what does violence prevention mean to you all?
I'll start. I think violence prevention is really less focusing on policing or trying to fight our way out of the problem, and more focus on addressing the root causes of violence. How are we addressing education? How are we addressing employment? How are we addressing, like we said, things for teens to do so they're not idle and causing ruckus around the community? So it's really about addressing those things that lead to violent behavior so that way we don't have to resort to stealing or robbing or all these kinds of things. So that's really important to me.
Yeah, and I agree. I feel like there's a lot of different methods to prevent violence. Simply with restorative justice is when I really am an advocate for RJ, and it's really something that's paving. It's already been here, but it's making a huge comeback, and our youth are actually learning to teach these to other youths. And so starting the teaching really young before the problem even starts is a good method to stop the violence before it even starts.
I agree. I believe that starting these teachings young, not only to the teenagers but the upcoming teenagers, we understand that our youth are the future, but we have to start early as well.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like when people wait too long to teach, the teenagers are already instilled with their own mindset and their own way of going about things. So once they get older, it's hard for them to break down the way that they already know to try to learn a whole new way of going about something. Exactly. So when we start as young as the sixth graders and the fifth and sixth graders right now, start there, because then it's once you teach them, that's what they'll carry with them. Instead of us, we weren't taught anything, so we were only going about what we saw, and since we didn't see as much action in the community, we didn't have a lot to go by. So we aren't really instilled with a drive to help the community.
Yes. And I think it is important for those who are instilled with it. Peer-to-peer mentorship is so important. It can't always come from adult to child. What are your friends are who influence us now. Social media, that's where people are getting most of their information. So if your peer is negative, then you're going to be negative. If you have positive peers surrounding you, then you're going to be more positive. So I think it's very important to reach the youth that we can reach, and those youth have to reach those that are disengaged, because it can't always be us. And so you have to inspire your own demographic, your own age group to want to do better, and get them out to events and things. So
Right, I agree.
So do you feel the West Side needs additional programs that are focused on violence prevention in and out of school?
Yes, definitely, because you start in the school, but what are they taking home and actually continuing that? Exactly. We have summer break every year like clockwork. We need to be continuing this practice every summer, every winter, every fall. All of that.
Yeah, I agree. But I also feel like we should also aid the resources that's already here. There's a lot of resources that are kept under wraps or not being advertised enough. And so I used to be an advocate. I used to be saying it's not enough resources on the West Side, or this, that, and the third, we missing this. But when I actively went to go out there and look for it, and and seen is actually there. It's just not enough funding going around for those said programs that's already existing.
Not enough promotion as well, because
Exactly.
some people don't know about the things that's going on, but it's literally right there.
That's very true. Like, it's a lot of organizations and programs that are like they're geared towards the betterment of the youth. Like they'll like pay for college and like take them on college tours and show them around the city that they live in, teach them stuff. But since it's not being promoted, like where they go to school, so like the west side area or like the south side areas who don't get a lot of like opportunities, then they're left out when they need it the most, so they won't be able to get it. But like you said, like if it's more promotion for it and like they put more funding towards these things, then I feel like it'll have like more teenagers would have it to even see, because you can't do anything if you don't see it or if you don't know that it exists.
So our program, actually, the one that we all work for, is called My Shy, My Future. And so that program is dedicated toward increasing awareness and opportunities for youth in an out-of-school time space. And so this summer, we are leading a Safe Spaces program where every week of the summer, we throw a kickback where kids can come out, have fun, and enjoy themselves amongst their peers in a safe environment. And so I think what we do is very important, because not only do they like create the events for their peers, they do the promotionals and they invite kids out. And the events are always wonderful. Last week we had Austin Hoops, so we had a basketball tournament. We've done a field day and water party. We've done Juneteenth. We had like arts and caricatures, artists drawn in the Columbus Park area. So we really do try to find things for kids to do, because it's important to have programming, but it's also important to have space for kids just to be kids and to come out and enjoy themselves, because not everything has to be about, oh, let me instill and teach this, although, yes, it's needed, but what time are we spending to build genuine relationships with students before you come in and try to mentor? Where is that happening at? And so that is something our program is really dedicated towards, is creating those spaces for young people.
I agree, and I was just doing I was taking a test last week that was saying like it's good for students to take standardized tests, but for them to take like things like in the arts field, like arts and like dance and stuff, it builds character and it helps them like find certain emotions in themselves that they wouldn't find if they only took standardized tests. So like you saying, like don't always try to like teach them something or be like real hard on like, oh, let's teach them this, but let them be free to be who they are so that they can find themselves and be like the person that you want them to be, and let them find that person, since they're going to be the citizens, the next like older citizens, and making decisions for like the whole community and even like the world, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some things that we can do to create positive social change in our community?
Well, I definitely say it does start with, like I said, that peer-to-peer mentorship is a very important piece. I think it starts with adults listening to young people and hearing them out for what their concerns are about their community, and not being so prescriptive. You know, there are things that we know to do, right? You know, to have programs, you know, to have town halls, but how can we shake that up and experiment a little bit to see and cast a wider net to get more feedback on what we're doing? How do we survey young people? How do we reach out to them to get more information around what do you want to do before and after school? How do you get to your after school programs? How are we providing transportation? All these kinds of pieces are missing sometimes in how we address these problems. So I think really doing a detailed, oriented look at how we are dealing and addressing young people, I think is really, really important.
Okay, so how does youth and social change relate to each other?
It relates to each other because that is our next, society. And so we have to, us as humans, our main goal should be to pass on the knowledge to the next generation. So why wouldn't you want the next generation to be equipped and no longer, follow in the generational curses that our previous generation had already bestowed upon us?
Exactly.
So I feel as if they are like integrated. They're not separated at all, because we supposed to leave a legacy. We supposed to, you know, create something better and pass it on. That's our whole, you know, MO as humans. So it's like you cannot have them together.
Yeah, youth are the change. We are the change. We are the new mindsets. We are quite literally the now and the future. And so it is very important for you to be, like I said, civically engaged. You know what's going on in your community. Know who the politicians are, who the players are. Even just knowing who your next door neighbor is. There's so much strength in building relationships with people, and I think that's something our generation, because we're so deep into social media, that we forget that you need real life relationships to get somewhere in life. And so part of that change is, you know, changing yourself. How are you being more open, more out into the world? What are you giving out to the world that you want the world to give to you? So that's definitely.
Yeah, because if you're going to get some money, or you want people want to grind and grind and grind, but the thing is, how are you going to get the money? Through the people, throughout the society. You
got to
need
make
each other.
relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do you feel is a big issue for young people on the West Side?
They don't have leadership like that. They only have judgment. So when you looking at the youth and you looking at all of this stuff that's going on, that what they doing, and you just look and you just judge, but you're not like realizing that instead of judging, you could be right here trying to make a solution for these kids to not go do what they do.
But I think before even that, and that goes back to the genuine relationships, there are things going on with young people, but there's no one for them to turn to. And yes, you may say you know your local young person, or that you just had them at an event the other day. But what did y'all talk about? Did you ask them how was their day, or did you say, hey, sign in so I get your name and information because I need these numbers? So what are the quality of the relationships that we're building with our young people? How are we building them to make them sustainable? So when there is something going on or there is a problem, that they feel like they have somebody to turn to.
Yes. And I totally agree with Alicia when you say like they like judge all the time. Like I never heard nobody say that, and that is so true. Like if anybody is doing something that say that they like genuinely want to do whatever they're doing, and then somebody else is like when people are taught certain things, when they see when they see somebody doing it a different way, they see it as wrong. So they judge whatever they're doing. And if that's who they genuinely are and they don't want to be judged, then they'll take that and then they'll change it. And then they'll become an entirely different person, trying to base their whole character off of, okay, will this be acceptable or will that be acceptable? So then it's like they can never find who they are, or like they're just like tearing down their true self, trying to fit themselves in like the social norms of, okay, this is what everybody will like, this is what I should wear, this is what I shouldn't wear, this is how I should talk, this is not how I should talk. And stuff like that. And it is like people do always like judge instead of just accepting people for who they are and accepting, okay, everybody isn't the same. Like people are different from me, so they will have a different way to talk and a different way to do things. They don't always have to be like me. And I feel like a lot of kids, like you say, they don't have leadership, so they won't try to be understanding of somebody else's way of doing things. They'll only see their way as being right. And yeah, they just really like need more leadership. But I love that you said that. So what can we do to get young people to be more involved in the community?
Try to be more understanding. Like you said, like people try to change their identity based off what they see and what's acceptable. So
definitely creating more safe spaces for young people, and not just in the way, like I was saying, with events, but, at your local organization meeting, at your, all these things, think very critically and thoughtfully about how are you leaving a space for a young person to engage in that area, It's a lot of times, like you said, the meetings, they're long. It's, and then a lot of times you have a young person sitting there and most people don't even look over to ask them what they're thinking about, or because they're in their phone, you think they're not paying attention, but they are. And so it's very important on how you engage young people in those important conversations and getting them involved. So.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe like people are a product of their environment, and if you fix the environment and have them in a more hospitable environment that's going to actually aid them in their success or aid them in their skill sets and stuff like that, that's actually going to like make them flourish. Because if you're in an environment that's surrounded by violence, that has, vacancies, that's not well kept, that doesn't have greenery, that's actually a very hostile environment. So how do you expect anybody to flourish under hostile environments? So I believe it starts where home at,
Yeah, I think like how you said, like with like greenery, I think it like I don't know if this the word, but like it releases some type of like dopamine, seeing like all the like vibrant colors and stuff like that. But if all you see is like vacant lots and like trash and like dead grass, then the energy around you is just so like dead that you aren't really going, like you won't be like
can't flourish.
Yeah, like I don't know how to explain it. And then like what you were saying, when they see kids on their phones and stuff, I don't feel like they be as empathetic as they could be, and they just be like, oh, like they just young kids all in their phones, like they don't know nothing else. But it's like it's a reason why they're like that, and they don't try to see like, okay, they might be like this because like something could be like that. Oh, they get ignored at home, so all they have is their phone. So it's like, oh, they be in their phones a lot. They don't try to see something else. They always just see like the negative and say, oh, like they're just in their phones. They don't know nothing else. But yeah, I feel like they don't try to engage at all. And then it's like, since you don't engage and don't talk to them, and they always think, oh, they could talk first. But kids now, it's like, I don't know. It's just not like, it's not like that. Like they won't speak first. Like they just, sometimes they feel so like, I don't know, they feel overwhelmed all the time.
Everybody have different learning patterns also. Everybody does not learn the same. See, me, I'm a visual learner. But I could give you something, you probably can just look at just words or something like that. Or you could be a numbers person. Everybody has different, methods of teaching. And so it just goes to that said person that's teaching that person to actually adapt into their learning space if they want to teach them something so badly.
I also think it's really important to just expose youth to new opportunities and new things that are outside of there. If the community is dead and it's going to be years before investment, what can we do to get youth outside of their community so they can see and aspire and hope and dream for something? You can't dream when you're surrounded by nothingness. So I think it's really important, and it's been my personal mission to make sure to get youth out of community. And so every year, this is our second year, we are having a Westside Youth Empowerment Conference, which is specifically designed to get youth out of community. We go to a hotel downtown Chicago where they get to experience the hotel, they get to experience downtown safe. A lot of times they've been saying kids can't be downtown because they don't know how to conduct themselves. But we brought 100 high school students downtown last year, and there was not a problem had. And they had a wonderful time. We had a banquet, all sorts of things. And I think you don't get to see how well kids can thrive in those moments until you put them up and put them in those opportunities. So.
So what are some social problems that teens are going through in the community?
Teen?
Yeah, teen.
Can you repeat the question?
What are some social problems that teens are going through in the community?
I would say, again, judgment. See, we don't have too many people to look up to. We only have people looking down on us. So you see us on our phone all the time. We're not paying attention. You see us doing bad stuff downtown. Y'all don't have no home training. But we don't have a lot of stuff to do. Like, it's nowhere we can really go. I remember I tried to go to the movies after 6, and they said I couldn't get in there. So it's like, we need more things to do.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a social change, because I know my mom would tell me stories all the time about how it was so much stuff for her to do when she was a teenager. But now, all we looking at is food deserts, vacant lots, and we have nowhere to go to have fun. So that's why you see all these teens going downtown and making this destruction, because they have like no positive way to take out whatever they go through.
A lot of pent-up energy.
Yeah. And it's negative energy.
I agree, and I also feel like another thing is like peer pressure, because a lot of kids want to do what they see other people doing, or it's like, oh, if my friends are doing this, then I want to do this too. And sometimes that's not the right path for everyone, but since they go down it, they have to deal with the consequences of going that way. So they are too busy trying to be someone that they're not to fit into their friend groups and things like that. So that also tears them away from finding who they really are. And then with like the limitations as well, like, oh, you can't go to the movies after 6, you can't go downtown. It's like you telling citizens of Chicago that they can't be somewhere that's for the people in Chicago. And it's like, okay, so I can't go downtown. After a certain time, I can't do this, but I'm a teenager, so I have to have a job, so I don't get off at a certain time, so I can only go out at a certain time. But it's like, we can't go out, so they're going to find something to do. And if downtown is just an open area for kids to just be all together, then that's where they're going to be. And if sometimes they have pent-up anger that they have going on, then that's where the like Janeicia is saying, like the programs for people to be in, like the spaces that kids could go to talk about how they feel, because if it's pent up, then they're going to find a way to get it out. And they go down there and they might see someone who makes them upset, and then something goes on. But that is not a them problem. That's just like something that they have to resolve within themselves that they can't, because there are no resources for them.
Agreed.
So, do you all know of any resources or activities that are available to address social change for our young people?
My Shine, My Future.
Yes, so that brings us back to the My Shine, My Future conversation. And so My Shine, My Future does have an app. You can look it up on your app store, My Shine, My Future, where all of the events and opportunities and programs for young people are posted on there daily. And we also run a group called the Austin Experience. And so all of our events that we have under the Austin Experience, which aims to really highlight all of the positive community-led events, we all post that on the My Shine, My Future page. And then we also have a social media while we're here.
And on Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram at the Austin_experience to find out more about the events and safe space programs we lead throughout the Austin community.
Not only do we post our events, we also post encouraging quotes every day for the youth to stay encouraged. Not only just come out to our event, but feel self-love within yourself.
Yes.
No, that's right. So, also before we close out, Fathers Who Care has a MySpace drop-in center that is for teenagers and the adult youth from 13 to 24, Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And it's another safe space for young people to come and just do like homework, have life skills workshops, and have games, snacks, and there will also be like field trips, and you guys can go. It's up to you. It won't be like field trips put on you and then you'd be like, oh, why do I have to go here? Like, you can choose where you want to go. And if you want any more information about that, you can call them at 773-287-5821. So if you are just tuning in, our guests tonight on the show are Janeicia, Phillissa, and Alicia. And they were talking to us about like the young people making a difference and becoming future change agents. We would like to thank our viewers for watching. For additional information about our youth council, please contact us at 773-287-5821 and ask for Miss Princess. Thank you, and tune in to our show next week, same time, same station.